Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, and we're going to talk about an exciting adventure hook for you, which is when a shocking champion arrives. When a shocking champion emerges, right? So this is a great adventure hook for your Dungeons & Dragons game that comes straight out of the headlines of American politics. All right, let's talk about President Joe Biden. Now, first of all, yesterday I literally said that that America was frustrated because Joe Biden was not doing anything. He wasn't bringing bills. He wasn't actually getting bills closed or accomplished. It was just like we've been talking for 10 months about a spending bill, and it never seems to emerge, and it doesn't like it's been cut in half, and like all major programs that were talked about by the Biden administration are just like not existent, right? So it's just sad and frustrating, for a lot of people. But it is amazing. Like I get a lot of flack in my comments for people who are like, you said this a week ago and now you're saying the opposite. World changes, baby, like on a dime. Keep up. Like things are not static in our world. They change very, very fast. So yesterday I just said Biden is, getting a lot of flack because he don't do nothing. Well, boy, is he doing something now, right? Like it's the exact opposite today. He is accomplishing some things. He's doing some real work. And what has happened? Joe Biden has emerged as a shocking champion, a surprising champion, a champion no one expected. Joe Biden is a powerful champion of fossil fuels, right? What? Wait, what? Joe Biden, the guy who was saying that climate change, like through his entire, on every whistle stop on his campaign tour, which there are no whistle stops. It was just him in his basement mostly. You know what I mean, right? So he was like, hey, climate change matters. We got to make the earth cooler, right? So now he's in, and this week it sounds like a joke. It's not a joke. He has been going to major summits with like the G20, and he's like, climate change really matters. It's like important, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm listening. What are you saying, Joe? Like, climate change is important, right? And then he's like, just kidding. He said to Russia and OPEC. OPEC is the oil petroleum. I think it's I can't remember the E of countries. It is 15 countries highly dedicated to the production of fossil fuels, specifically oil, right? And you're like, wow, okay. And you know what Joe Biden said to OPEC and Russia? Pump it up, right? He wants more oil, right? So he's like, yeah, I know I've been talking about climate change. We need you guys to make a ton of oil, which we will burn immediately, right? And you're like, wait, what? Is that Joe Biden championing the fossil fuel industry and making sure that the world has lots of super thick, dark oil that I can run my, the Dodge Challenger that lives as a dream in my heart that I don't have the money for now, that it will have the black juice it needs, the gasoline, to make me as cool as I want to be in that Dodge Challenger, right? That some horrible future where Scott Garibay would have to own a Tesla doesn't need to happen, right? And who is the powerful fossil fuel champion? Joe Biden. Yes, right? Like, I do want to own a Dodge Challenger. I don't ever want to own an electric car. And Joe Biden's like, you got it, Scott. That Dodge Challenger's in your future. You'll never have to, never, ever have to drive one of those very, very lame Teslas, right? Like, he's like, don't worry about it. I got you covered. Now, just in case you're like, hey, Scott, that's just one thing, right? Joe's like, no, my championship of the fossil fuel industry does not stop there, baby. I am a true champion of the fossil fuel industry, right? And so, all right, 40 countries signed a contract that fossil fuels, that coal would no longer be used in their country. And they're like, America, you want to sign on? And Joe's like, no, of course we're not going to sign a contract that says we're going to end coal use in America. This America, man, we need that coal to put in the stocking of kids who are bad at Christmas, right? Like, we don't know what you celebrate over there, but we need coal, right? So I think it shocked a lot of people. But Joe Biden is doing something. He accomplished something very real. He put real preservation, real protection, real impetus and motivation and momentum behind the fossil fuel industry, both oil and coal. He is a doer, not a sayer, and he did it. And when push came to shove, he's like, hey, yeah, the climate change stuff, that's performative. The fossil fuel industry championship, that is real. I am a real champion for fossil fuels. I was shocked by this, okay? Now, I'll tell you, I didn't think that the climate change stuff was performative, but it definitely is. You could see that this week. Like, he proved it with oil and he proved it with coal, right? So how do we bring this in and make a super awesome hook for our Dungeons & Dragons game? Okay, Phandalin and Neverwinter in Faerun, right? So Phandalin is a mining town. Now, you will find Phandalin and Neverwinter. You'll find a beautifully gorgeous map in the Essentials kit, okay? Now, I thought I was the only one who was like, man, this Essentials kit is super dope. I love this Essentials kit. It's so good, it's so good, it's so good, right? But I'm not. I got commenters down below going, yeah, oh yeah, we using the Essentials kit. We using that map, and we're saying, hey, you're, 10 miles out of Phandalin, and you're, 50 miles out of Neverwinter, and you went back to Phandalin, let's flip the map over, and hey, look, here's Townmaster Harbin's home. All right, here we go. Let's do it up. Here's your adventure hook that comes straight out of the shocking emergence of a surprising championship of Joe Biden as the world's #1 champion of the fossil fuel industry. Shocking, like incredible, right? So how do we bring that kind of excitement, that kind of like, ooh, I didn't see that coming to our D&D game? All right, so you're in Phandalin, right? And in Phandalin, there's a bunch of dwarven miners, okay? They go down into the mines and they dig up all kinds of ores that get sold to Neverwinter and get shipped off to Waterdeep, right? Lots of different areas, and even like the elves get, some of these ores to make swords and weapons, and so those dwarven miners from Phandalin, the Phandalin dwarven miners, they're very real. That's a real faction, right? Well, you also have these human woodcutters in the Neverwinter woods, okay? So what's happened is that the Neverwinter woodcutters for 3 years have met for negotiations with the dwarven miners, and they say, hey, you guys are great customers. You buy 1,000 beams a year that we hew, right? We cut down and we cut them into the exact into a 8 by 1 foot by 1 foot shape for you, and we get you everything you need. But every year you keep paying us, the same amount. You keep paying us, 1 gold for 4 beams, right? But we need an increase, right? We want it to be 1 gold for 3 beams, right? And the dwarves are like, no, you keep going. And if you don't keep going, human woodcutters, we're going to replace you. We're going to bring in some labor from the north, and we'll do our own. We'll get it. We'll have our own organization cutting those beams, right? Well, finally, after 3 years, the human woodcutters are like, that's it. We're not doing this anymore. We're doubling the price, right? It is now 2 golds for 4 beams, right? And the dwarves are like, are you out of your mind, right? And so, everybody's at the Stonehill Inn, which is the actual inn in Phandalin, and the dwarves are like getting all fired up, and some of the woodcutters have come in for a nice drink too, and like they almost come to blows. And the next morning they meet in like right at the edge of the forest, and there's 50 dwarves and there's 50 stonecutters, and they're shouting at each other, and the dwarves have their their war hammers out, and the woodcutters have their axes out, and guess who comes, right? Phandalin Townmaster Harbin Wester. He is a fat old white dude. That's literally his description in the the Essentials kit, right? And so he runs up and he sees that there's about to be bloodshed, right? And he comes up and he's like, and now Harbin Wester is the Townmaster of Phandalin. Phandalin literally has a miners building in where miners live. They have a miners barrack right there in the city, right? So you think Harbin Wester is going to support the miners. But what he does is he comes up and he sees one of the woodcutters, and they have 2 axes, and he snatches one of the axes out of their hands, and he goes, you greedy miners, you need to do the right thing and pay double the coin, right? And your player characters are right there, right? And at that point, the miners are shocked because they've been abandoned by their Townmaster, right? And their Townmaster has allied with the woodcutters. But why? Why has Harbin Wester allied with the woodcutters? That's going to be answered in your game. And as the 50 dwarven miners clash and the 50 human woodcutters clash, axe rings against, and actually, maybe it won't happen. Maybe your player characters can stop it. But as you can almost hear the clash of axe against warhammer, right? Your player characters are right there, and they're going to help decide the fate of what happens. Do they save people and stop the calamity the confrontation that's about to happen and stop it from being physical, or do they make sure that the woodcutters are backed up and they defeat the 50 miners, or do they make sure that the miners defeat the human woodcutters? Right? They're adventurers. They can absolutely swing the balance to either group they choose to. That's a good hook, right? And you could use this Saturday. What have you ever done this? Have you ever introduced the shocking emergence of a surprising champion? Boy, I was really shocked this week as Joe Biden was like, yep, the climate change stuff was performative. I'm actually a powerful, powerful champion of the fossil fuels industry. I never saw that coming. I truly didn't. I was shocked. And I follow politics pretty closely, all right? So when have you done this in your games? Or do you have other ways that you could change this or twist this to make it an even better story hook? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.